Welcome to Evolve, Mastery for Leading a New World, with CEO and award-winning author Yvette Bethel. This podcast is dedicated to supporting leaders with a variety of solutions to build trust, inspire authentic change, and improve morale within your organization. Learn how to grow your people, build your culture, and transform your results.
Welcome to Evolve, Mastery for Leading the New World. I'm Yvette Bethel, and this episode is about reading between the lines. There is an encrypted language you can encounter when a coworker wants to tell you something, but she has to be careful about what she's saying. While her attempts at diplomacy may be laced with the intent to protect herself and others, the end result is that sometimes it's difficult to decode the message, regardless your cognitive ability, and as a result, misunderstandings can occur. Reading between the lines is a skill you can use to perceive beyond the surface of words. It refers to your ability to understand what is not being said, to listen to tone, to understand the subtleties of word choice, and the ability to detect a lack of alignment between words and action. Here are 4 examples of how communication can be so unclear that it's difficult to decode. Number 1, sometimes the speaker substitutes names with vague qualifying terms like the person you just met the other day in an attempt to avoid name calling. But what if you met a number of people lately? Number 2, there are others who use metaphors that mean something to them, but don't mean anything or the same thing to you. Number 3, people find it difficult to articulate truths, so they water down the message to the extent that it is easy to underestimate the gravity of the situation. Number 4, there are those who deliberately use confusing language to obscure what they're saying because they want to hide the truth. Office politicians can deliberately use half-truths or misleading language to influence situations. On the other hand, some coworkers believe being honest can damage relationships, so they use half-truths to survive. In the interest of building trust, communication should be as clear as possible. Here are a few tips you can use to decipher what's really being said. Firstly, it's important to learn to decipher both verbal and nonverbal language with equal competence. You can do this by observing the communicator's body language and asking yourself if it is aligned with what they are saying and how they are saying it. For example, is the communicator's body language defensive while his words appear to be calm? Remember, nonverbal language accounts for more than 90% of communication. Secondly, we all have different backgrounds, so we filter information in unique ways. In light of this, reading between the lines requires skillful questioning so you can test your understanding of what is being said without causing the speaker to feel vulnerable enough to cease communicating. Thirdly, reading between the lines requires an ability to be aware of your environment. This requires developing skills you can use to read external influences that can affect the message that you are receiving. Fourthly, it's useful to build your emotional competence. Being capable of empathy allows you to connect more deeply with others, and this connective capacity provides you with knowledge of the situation you can use to better understand what is not being said. When you know a coworker's time-tested values and patterns, you already have useful insights. Coworkers can be less direct when trust is low and they perceive the possibility that if they provide an authentic response, it can backfire. To neutralize the possibility of this dynamic, a trust-building strategy needs to be developed and implemented so honest conversations can occur. Reading between the lines is especially useful when you're in the midst of change and coworkers are reluctant to express their objections. Instead, They tell you what they think you want to hear so they can sustain themselves in self-protection mode, even though this creates risks for the team. If trust is low among members of your team, it's essential for you to become proficient at reading between the lines as you build healthier relationships. Reading between the lines can help you avoid making grave errors, because when you detect something that seems incongruent, you have to establish the relationships you need in order to address the challenge without creating a negative outcome. The foundational skills required for reading between the lines are emotional intelligence, which includes empathy, the ability to care about the thoughts and needs of others, and your openness to divergent views, which all lead to trust building and authenticity. Thank you again for joining me at Evolve Mastery for Leading the New World. I invite you to join me this and every Monday for a new episode. In the meantime, remember, always continue to evolve.
Thanks for listening to Evolve Mastery for Leading a New World. Visit YvetteBethel.com to learn more about Yvette's leadership programs and to download her free gift, Success Tips for Igniting Your Career.